Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kobe Rose and I welcome you to Kobe Rose Africa. If today happens to be your first time coming along with our videos, don't forget to subscribe and to follow us on all social media as Kobe Rose Africa. Also, don't forget to leave your comment at the comment section. It's always important to us. And then again, you can also share our videos so that somebody else can also watch our videos. Okay, today we're going to have some little conversation that we can all relate and then resonate. It's a topic that we can have interest about. Today's conversation is simple. The rate at how rent is suppressing the youth of today is so alarming. The rate at how rent is driving the youth or killing the youth of today is so alarming, and it's sometimes when you think about stuff like this, you ask yourself so many questions that what are our politicians doing? What are the government doing about stuff like this? Or is it because these high top people can afford and so therefore they don't care about what is happening? We all know or we all have heard about rent controls, but it looks like the name is just over there, but it's not working. Because looking at how landlords of today are evicting tenants from their properties is so bad and it's so alarming, because landlords can just come out and then give you some reasons, some baseless reason that when you think about it, you ask yourself, like, do we have leaders? Do we have people that we can talk to? Do we have people that we can speak our problems to? Rent control becomes the only place that you can walk in and then tell them your problem. It's not so functioning, and these are some of the things that are driving the youth crazy, because the rate at how landlords are increasing rent is so bad, and those that they are not even increasing, and the baseless reason how they are evicting tenants from their properties is so alarming, because somebody can just wake up the next day and tell you, I'm increasing my rent, and therefore I'm not also taking the initial agreement that you had, like 1 year advance payment. He's not taking, he's either taking 2 years or 3 years, because he knows when he gives you this reason you cannot afford, and so therefore all what you have to do is to evict you from the room, or move you out from the room. And we have nobody to explain our issues to. Why is it that there are no rules or policies that will govern the rent problems in our country? What is the job of the rent control? What is the job of the rent control? What policies are they laying down for the landlords? Today, what is happening in our in our current situation is that it's only the foreigners who can afford to live in the cities, because they are the people who can pay for any amount that you ask for. And the youth of today are driven out from the city to go and live far places than living in the city or living close to their job site. You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm complaining about? Okay, let's do a little statistics here. Okay, assuming you are being employed in the city, and then you are being paid, let's say 2,000 for a month. That 2,000, you have to save 2,000, something from the 2,000. You have to use you have to feed from this 2,000, and again you have to pay your rent in this same 2,000. So let's do some little calculation here. So this 2,000, you are paying, let's say, 1,000 Ghana for a month. Yes, of course, because in the city, if you want to live in a good apartment, you have to pay 1,000 Ghana plus. Or yes, so you scrutinize yourself, or you try to cut down some costs, and so you decide to live in a place that you can accommodate, like to pay a rent of 1,000 Ghana for a month. So for a month, 1 year, you are supposed to pay 12,000 Ghana cedi. Your salary is just 2,000, so 12,000 Ghana cedi. Like I made mention that our landlords don't accept 6 months payment, or neither accepting, let's say, a month payment. And so it's either you pay in advance, and so you are supposed to pay 1 year, and this 1 year he's then taking advance of 2 years. So in this case, you are going to pay 24,000 Ghana cedi for 2 years advance. For 2 years advance. Okay, how are you going to survive in the future if you are paying 24,000 Ghana cedi for rent? How are you going to survive this? Okay, so these days people are drove out of the city to live far ending, and you living at far end or living at far places for you to come to work is not the problem here. Another problem that you are going to face is traffic jam. So every day you have to wake up at dawn, like let's say 3:30, and if your work is very tedious that you are supposed to work overtime, meaning you are going to close around 8 o'clock p.m. in the night, and then get home around late in the night, like let's say 12, because you will be in the traffic. 10 to 11 that will you be in the traffic, and wake up fairly early in the next day around 4 o'clock, and then go back to work. Okay, so how do we survive? So in this case, I always say that youth of today are not living their best life because of how landlords of today are suppressing the youth, how the system is scrutinizing and suppressing the youth of today. And nobody is speaking about this. Nobody is talking about it. Today, the politicians come and they only speak about making big promises, without even speak about the rate at how rent is suppressing the youth. So today we have rent control, but there is no policies, there is no role that they are playing in the life of the youth today. And the most worrying part is nobody is speaking about it. I think people have that mindset of bringing in new government because they want the government to reason with them to tackle issues like this so that they can live happily in this country. But it looks like when people in power or those that they are gone doesn't even pay attention to this stuff, and it's really suppressing the youth. It's really making the youth uncomfortable. It's really, how can, assuming you are being paid 1,500 for a month, and you take it down like this, the statistics I gave it to you right now, or the calculation I gave it to you, how are you going to survive this? How are you going to survive it? Unlike in the Western world, there are policies that is governing the rent issues around the place. That alone, it gives them some kind of confidence. It gives them some kind of, realization. You relax in your life. Okay, but in our side of the story, it's never like that, and there are no rules. There are no policies, and it's really killing the youth of today. It's so alarming. Like I said, today, when you are walking along the street or in a city, all what you see is that it's only those foreigners who are working in a big places are able to afford good houses or good places for them to live in. But the youth who's working for himself, who has nowhere to go than to live in his country and then survive, he's being drove out from the city to live far end, because that is where rents are less expensive. I think the government has to come out with policies like stronger policy that can make the landlords to come in agreement to reduce the rent costs. Okay, the rate at how landlords are evicting tenants should also come in agreement of reduction. It has to come down. And I don't know. I want to ask you this question: have you ever had encounter with rent control officer? If you have ever had encounter with those people, you can leave your comment at the comment section. Okay, I don't know their kind of or their job that they are doing at the office. Their office is like, a rent control officer is, like putting out his job efficiently. Like, I don't know. Let's do a small comparison. When you look at the police, if you condemn them in a way, you also see them working. Okay, this is okay. Sometimes you can criticize them one way or another, but you can see them working. When you see there's a fire personnel, when there is a fire outbreak, you see them working. But let's come to this side of the story. Where are the rent control officers? I mean, where did they work? You don't even see them. Assuming right now there's a problem, okay, and you are supposed to go to their office. You can't even find their office. You can't find their office for you to go and lodge your complaint. And so therefore, what is the work of the rent control? What is the work of the rent control? What are they doing? I think it's high time, we ask questions like this so that problems can be fixed. I'm only pleading with our current government should also look at this side after them looking at all their promises and stuff. I don't want to enter into this politics stuff, but I think it's high time the government also take a critical look at this section, the rent control, their job, what they are doing. I mean, how are they, putting their work in place so that the youth of today can live happily? Okay, so this, I think we all have to come together and then help the government as well. I think, for me, I suggest we should start, forming rent unions. When we start forming rent unions, we can lodge our complaints proper to the government. We can, leave our problems to the government so that they work on it. Because there are no rent unions, people are scamming people. Today, if you want to rent and they've come out with this, how did they even call them? They've come up with this agents. Is it in the policy of rent control that if you want to, get a room to rent, you have to go through this agents before you can get a room to rent? Is it in their policies? If it is in their policy, they should come out and then tell us